Welcome back everybody to another Warhammer video, and it seems like we now have a new roadmap, although the order is not entirely clear. But we have some pretty good hints as to the next 5 factions that are coming out. And this is important because we know that we've gotten through all of the other roadmaps that we have been shown. So the first one, which we got a while ago, it said that, we had orcs and soulblight and gloomspite that were coming out. And then we had Ideneth and Night Haunt, and it teased that Caradron and Flesh Eater Courts and Khorne were going to be coming out as well. And so all of those things happened. We also got a tease for Chaos Dwarves, which were eventually announced. Now at this point, we've seen the Chaos Dwarves, and they're really ramping up the coverage this week with more lore. And it's pretty clear to me, at least, that, and I think a lot of people, that the Chaos Dwarves, or the Hellsmiths of Hashut, are going to be coming out very quickly now. They more than likely are the next faction that we're going to get. So then we got this article today, which mentions, it's the 10-year anniversary. There's been all sorts of cool models coming, and the game is going to get bigger. The future is bright, and there's something to come for every existing faction, but also some bigger developments that are on the way. And here we have 4 rumor engine. They're more than the usual rumor engine, and they're in color. And it says that one of them for each Grand Alliance. And so when we look at this, we can see a shield that has a fly, maybe the Order of the Fly. That has to be the Chaos edition, and it looks like it's going to be Nurgle. On the right, we have what is clearly a rune for a Fire Slayer and an orange beard hanging down below the belt, with that little ornamental thing on there as well. But what we see here is not just a loincloth. We see to the left and to the right kind of a scaled skirt. That means we're not just having baby in loincloth, we're having dwarf with actual clothing. And you can still see it's a Fire Slayer, because if you look really carefully at the bottom left and a little bit at the bottom right of the photo, you can see there is bare leg still there. So it's still going to be kind of Slayer-esque. Now, I should also mention that there's been a lot of rumors in the last 2 days that have said all sorts of things are coming out. None of that is confirmed, and so I'm not really going to talk about that today, or I don't know if I'm going to talk about it at all, but this is confirmed. We know this is happening. We know that Nurgle's coming, we know that Fire Slayers are coming, and we know that Ogres are coming. We can see them in the bottom left. And so these are also pretty clear because there's very few factions in the alliances. Like, for example, in Destruction and Death, there's very few factions left to actually get a new update. In the case of Death, the bottom right, well, that's got to be the Osiarch Bone Reapers, because Soulblight got refreshed. We saw Night Haunt and we saw Flesh Eater Courts. And so this looks like a little bony hand. And you can see that there's the segments of the bone on the wrist, and then above the forearm. And then there's smoke coming off of this grenade-like thing. And this is going to be an Osiarch Bone Reapers. And so to recap here, we know now the next faction is going to be the Chaos Dwarves. And we know that the 4 factions after that are going to be, well, we don't know the order. Maybe this is the order, maybe it's not, but maybe it's going to be Nurgle, then Fire Slayers, then the Ogre Maw tribes, and then the Osiarch Bone Reapers. And at which point, I mean, there's only one destruction faction left, right? There would be the Sons of Behemoth, and there'd be Death would be done. Chaos, we'd still have to do Tzeentch, and we'd still need to do Slaanesh. But we would have done Skaven already, and Slaves to Darkness as well has been done, and Nurgle's been done, and Khorne has been done, so we're looking pretty good there. Now, Order still has a lot. Cities of Sigmar we know is coming, but they had a really late book. But there are still other factions like Sylvaneth, like Lumineth, as well as Seraphon and Daughters to Cain. I think that's all the factions, but if I miss somebody, let me know. If I had to guess, I would say that We know some of the ones that are not going to be updated soon. So for example, we know that Cities and Seraphon both got spearheads recently. So I would bet on Sylvaneth, Lumineth, and the what's the one that I'm forgetting now, Daughters of Cain, would be coming up soon, but we don't actually know like for a fact that's how it's going to work. And if cities get a new refresh, they would get another spearhead anyway. So I mean, really, anything could happen, but this is pretty cool. Like, we have a pretty good idea now of what's coming. Now, in terms of the 4 things shown here, and this kind of does support the rumors that we've seen, we could expect more than just the token update for these factions. And the reason I say that is, one, Nurgle, pretty old models and needs a bit of an expansion. Fire Slayers, definitely small range, and I think that they need to get more models that look different like we see here. So maybe we could see multiple units come out. And then Ogres, from what I understand, have like legit the oldest range, period. And so even if we don't see things that are like brand new for these factions, I think we could see revamped units or like new sculpts of existing units. And then finally, Ossiarch Bone Reapers, I think there could be an opportunity for more models because they also have a pretty small range. They are on the newer side compared to some of these other factions. And so that's really exciting to see. So that's going to be it for this little preview. This is our roadmap going forward, and I'm really curious to hear how everybody feels about this, if they would have liked to see different factions here. I think these are all pretty fair shouts for the factions that needed to get refreshed, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not in a rush for cities to get updated because they have a pretty big range and a pretty fun index, and so I'm cool if we can play that a little bit longer, but I am hoping that we see some new Lumineth stuff soon, because I would love to see if it goes into the River Temple, and if there's, you know, a new hero for the River Temple, and then also to see the actual like playstyle, or not the playstyle, but the faction abilities and stuff. I'd love to see a battletome and some revamps there. But otherwise, I'm gonna call it there. It's not gonna be a long video. It's really hot in this office right now because we've got apparently the worst air quality in the world right now because a huge amount of fire smoke is coming in from some wildfires, which is awful. And it's all coming into Vancouver, and so I can't keep any windows right now or turn on my AC because it's pretty bad outside. And so I'm in here sweating. I don't want to film a long video. I'm back to work now as well. This is my first day of teaching. I was back yesterday, the day before, for you know, setup and welcoming kids for like schedules, but I taught today, and I'm honestly pretty wiped out. You know, it's hard having all summer off. But I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And if we get more news, I'll be back with more videos. And I would like to talk about the Hellsmiths of Hashut at some point, because holy cow, they look really cool. All right, we'll talk to you all soon in another video.